you.
Hey, welcome to Visit by Houston.
Thank you.
My name is Mandisa with Pan African Beat and Caribbean Impacts. And today we are speaking with Brother Stephen Okeke. Tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, where you've been, and some observations that you've had.
Thank you very much. I'm Stephen Okeke. I live in Belize, Central America. The cool, quiet country of Belize, we do scuba diving a lot too. It's a great tourist destination. Laid back, the world best kept secret. But I have been a lecturer at the University of Belize for 8 years. I taught mechanical technology. But my passion has been the arts. I'm a sculptor. And I've done all the major sculptures in Belize, all the public works in Belize. Most of my sculptures have become national monuments in Belize. I'm also very interested, I've been very interested in social research, especially when it comes to the African American experience, the experience of the diaspora, the challenges they have, most particularly in industry, in business, and in power brokerage. So for the past 20 years, I've been dedicated to that research. And I've written a number of books which are place-specific. I like writing place-specific books because they solve particular problems. They are not books for policy making, they are for solving problems. So when we take a particular problem, analyze it critically, dismantle it properly, and be able to put forward solutions that can work, you have done tremendously. And to write so many things that may look good, sound good, but don't work. So when I wrote something like The Psychology of the Belize Marketplace, How to Succeed in Small Business in Belize, those are books that people have taken, gone into business and succeed. And you can replicate the success. Belizeans have challenges a lot of our black people have had in business. They take the book, they go into the marketplace, they succeed. It's guaranteed success. And then also I've written the book that took 5 years to write and a lot of investment and research. And also wrote the book on understanding the problems of Belizean youth, positive insights.
Belizean youth?
Belizean youth.
Okay.
And I also wrote the book on how to solve every problem every day. That's on Amazon. And then I have some books on poetry. And I was very interested in African American experience because I'm part of the experience. Colonialism is our story. Slavery is our story. It's a story we tell with pomp and circumstance. It's a story of glory. But there are hurts also that have lingered, and those have been challenging to surmount. A lot of investment is being made, a lot of investment has been made, but it seems we get so little in return for so much invested. So my interest is to find out what are the missing links. What are we not getting right? Or what are we doing too good to work?
Okay.
And that is where I came into the African American experience, but looking at it as an outsider, from the outside. Because when you're on the inside, there may be a lot of things you can't see very clearly. But from the outside, dispassionately, I may be able to see a lot more. And that is why I took 12 years to put the book together.
Now, part of the title says because we were broken. The rest of the African American experience in a third person perspective, facts, opinions, and controversies. What are some of the controversies that you see that how were we broken, for example?
Well, why I put all this together is to encompass the discussion. We have to recognize and accept that we have been hurt. We have been deprived. Somebody messed up the thing. We have to acknowledge that as a background. But the onus, the responsibility to solve the problem now falls absolutely on us. We can't sit back to keep reciting what happened. We can't afford to walk out on history, but we can walk on history. We can still recognize those things. But now to solve that problem is our responsibility. That's we recognize where we're broken. Now, in discussing the African American experience, from a third-person perspective, I recognize also that looking from the outside, I may not be able to understand the trauma. Just looking at some of the pictures traumatizes me. Imagine those who live with racism in its full evil. I will not be able to wrap my mind around the problem. But I also know there are basic and fundamental principles that if we apply in social politics, in business, in power brokerage, you will be able to replicate the success others are having. So in that place there, I touched on some issues that some people think are separate, you shouldn't touch, because they are part of the social tradition. And social traditions are the most difficult to break, because there are things we do which we enjoy, may be dysfunctional, may be hurting us, but that's how we know that it has been done before, and that's how our parents have been doing it. It's part of our African American culture, but they're hurting us. So I'm saying that if something is not working, if we have been trying to do something for so long the same way and it's not working, it's no longer time to do something better. It's time to do something different. And so I made suggestions on how those things can be done differently, based on the research I've done, based on actual participation. I've been able to establish businesses for people. I've been involved in business. I've been involved in the art. I've also been involved in politics. Not only have I written the book on politics, but also I ran as a mayoral candidate for the Belize City mayoral election. So I've been involved, I've participated as part of my research to show this is how you can get involved, this is what you can do, and replicate the effectiveness.
So also you have all the psychology of Nigerian politics.
Yes.
In creating a new Nigerian order. Again, your books tend to be subheaded facts, opinions, and controversies.
Yeah, because
it's your perspective.
It's my perspective. So while some are facts, there are some you may not agree with. I will want you to box them into the controversies so we can continue the discussion. So it does not mean that everything I say there is the way it must be, but suddenly they work.
Okay, so you do have some opinions on how to solve
the challenges, because in the area of Nigerian politics, I believe strongly from my experience being on the ground and observing the other democracy in action, there are rudimentary problems we have in Nigeria. And most of them come from understanding, not knowing how things work, not even understanding very well the concept of democracy. We know that democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. But what most practice is government of the people, for the people. The central aspect is where you come in, your responsibility to democracy. For example, participating in politics is not a luxury, it's your responsibility to democracy, to sustain the institution of democracy. Participating in politics does not necessarily mean you'll become a member of a party. But you're asking questions, you're giving suggestions, you're participating in making things right, is part of your responsibility. So there are so many basic things we need to do. How to talk to the politician, how to approach the politician, what not to say, how not to say. Those basic concepts, those basic elements are things a lot of people do not even know how it works. How to deal with your local government chair, how to, things that you should not expect from a politician. And of course, understanding that modern politics is more of an enterprise, it's a business. And no politician that is worth his weight in political pound of gold will do anything they are not pressured to do. We deal with politicians as what they are supposed to be instead of what they are, who they are supposed to be instead of who they are. Now politicians are supposed to be public officers, public servants, but right now politicians are entrepreneurs who are in election, who are in politics to win election, to make profit in order to take care of their own and their party with the hope of serving the public. We look We deal with them as if they are public servants who are there to serve the people with the hope of making a living. And when you know that no politician that is worth his weight in political pound of gold will do anything they are not compelled to do, then from the moment you cast your ballot, you be after them. How do you be after them? You do not have to be confrontational to be effective. There are so many provisions that democracy makes available that we either do not know or do not know how to assess. So the first reaction for most people is confrontational. And politicians like confrontation. Once you confront a politician, you lose. Once you engage a politician, the politician loses because they do not like that intellectual engagement that compels them to work.
So what's the difference between confrontation and intellectual engagement? How is that?
Let me give an example. The nominal language we use every day. We elect, for example, a minister. And in the process of governing, I come to the minister and say, "Unu politician, you guys are thieves. You guys are crooked. You have done nothing at all. There's nothing you have done. You're just wasting people's time." That is confrontation. I could also come to the politician and understand. The politician has a family. The politician has friends who respect them. While the politician is in office, that office is part of their making a living. That is his or her job. They make money for their family from that. So they have to protect that thing. So I could now engage a politician based on their mandate. He or she is not there to solve the whole problem in the world. There are specific things they promise, they offer, of which they were elected. So I can say, you promised to build a bridge. You promised to build a road and a market. Now you have built a bridge. I have to be fair, but you have not built a road and a market. When do you hope to build a road and a market? Then the politician could say, well, things are hard, things are difficult. And I remind sir, Mom, according to your manifesto, you told us, you knew there's no money, but you know how to solve the problem. Now, can you tell us, did you find out there's no money after you won, or were you just deceiving us? That's engagement. Then, if you say, okay, you're going to build the road, okay, sir, okay, ma'am, when will you start? Well, in the future. Okay, sir, thank you very much. You're a good guy, you're a very intelligent guy. Can you please give us specific about what month or what month? It's okay, by the end of the year. Okay, sir, so you mean by December, we should be looking forward to... The politician knows he's a disaster. They can't stand that. But once you cost them up, they brand you an opposition and send their political mad dogs after you, and it's over. They like that. But once you engage them intellectually, it's a mess. Because once you engage a politician, the people behind you will see this guy is not as smart as you told he or she is. And the politician hates that because he or she finds out others begin to think too. And that is dangerous for their business, but great for democracy and the community. But you have to do your homework to put together what you expect a politician to do, because if a politician offered and went into office, and this same politician was not able to create a job for themselves, and as soon as they get into office, you expect them to create a job. Does their being elected automatically make them intellectuals? It did not change them. So you have to be able to say, this is how we can create a job. What are you going to do about a politician? You can't approach a politician and say you must create a job. Where you do that, it's to the advantage of the politician, because the politician finds out you're not thinking smart. You're deifying the politician. You're making the politician who they are not, and who they know they couldn't be. That great mind that can create jobs and create opportunities, they could not do for themselves before they got elected into office.
So what role do individual African Americans or Belizeans have to play in helping to create opportunities for the private sector?
Private sector. First of all, you have to acknowledge your limitations. I hear sometimes a lot of our black people talk about how we see the Chinese, we see the Hispanic, we see everybody come here, come around and they make money. And why can't we make money like them? Well, I say you have to acknowledge your limitations. If you don't, you'll be going chasing that round and round and not get anywhere. These people have things you don't have. There's something to shame about it. They know things you don't know. Their cultural predisposition gives them ideas and knowledge that will take a nominal black person a whole lifetime to acquire. Just what they learn as a result of their socialization process. You have to acknowledge that. When a Chinese person is born in their homeland or in their communities, especially in their homeland, what they hear and what they see forms part of their wiring. When a black person is born, what they hear and what they see forms part of their fears. They are broken from the onset. Their parents, their community leaders break them before they start. So the way they see the world and the way the other guy sees the world is different. Just their socialization process alone. Now, we also have to acknowledge the cultural predisposition. For all the people that make up the colorful American cultural fabric, it's only the African American, the black person, that is the one that is not in their ancestral homeland. So those cultural predispositions that give credence to success in enterprise or competition was either truncated or obliterated altogether. So that's why I said in the book that African Americans are actually doing better than they're giving credit for, and better than they give themselves credit for, because they're operating from nothing. So when you understand that limitation, you now know that what these guys learn as a result of their socialization process, you have to learn it in A, B, C. So somebody telling you to compete with them is destroying you before you start. So when now you have learned the ABC, that is where you can start the creating of the opportunities. But you have to know how these things work. If you're going into business, you have to know that business is a world in itself. Law is a world of its own. And for all these worlds, like the world, the law of nature, there are laws that control, that organize, that regulate success. So if you're going into business, your common sense has its limitations when dealing with the complex issues of human interaction. So when you're going into business, you have to learn what you have to do for your particular kind of business, in your particular kind of area, within your particular kind of cultural milieu. How do you talk to this kind of customers? How do you sell this kind of products? How do you position yourself? What kind of work people do you employ? You have to know those things. If you're serving black people, you have to know how they think when they go to buy or sell. If not, you may be giving a great service that will likely fail than succeed. Or you may be falling terribly short and think others are the problem because they are not patronizing you. So you have to understand how these dynamics work towards success or inhibition of success.
How do we see competition differently, or how do you prepare to compete in the marketplace?
You can prepare to compete in the marketplace by learning how it is done. Now, you have to learn. Others learn. Others might have learned